So what's up, you guys? So the job that I've been putting off, which I shouldn't have, is finally getting done. I had a little bit of a scare Sunday on the way home. The Jeep almost overheated. Luckily, I wasn't that far away and I was able to get it home. That's just because I didn't pay attention. I just noticed that wiper blade is way too far underneath the other one. But anyway, like I said, I was almost home and the coolant temperature light came on saying that the Jeep was getting way too hot, and it was. Saw the gauge, it was getting really hot, and this didn't have any water in it at all. I've had water pump leak for a little while, and I've just been putting it off when I shouldn't have, so that's my fault. Don't be like me. But luckily I made it home, no problems. Jeep still drives just fine. I made sure to top off the water. I ordered a new water pump and belt from Rock Auto, and it got here actually yesterday. I think I ordered it Sunday and it got here yesterday, which is Wednesday. It got here late. It was supposed to get here at 3 and it got here like 6, but you know, I understand how busy they are. I'll kind of go over some of the stuff you'll need to do this. You don't need anything exciting. I don't have anything exciting. I did have water in the coolant system instead of coolant because, for one, the coolant has a shelf life just like everything else. So I went ahead and swapped all that out for just water, and it's not cold yet, so I wasn't too concerned. But I am going to have to try to flush the system out and get as much of the water out of it as I can. I've got 3 gallons of the I'm assuming it's green coolant, just because that's what I wanted to put in it. It's probably not right, and I'm sure people will tell me that, and that's fine. I'll go back and change it at some point, but I at least need something in it, and I want to keep an eye on it and everything like that. So yeah, with how badly it was leaking, it didn't make sense costly, or it didn't make sense money-wise to constantly just keep pouring coolant in it. Obviously, the ideal thing would be to actually just fix the damn thing, but you know, it is what it is. It's getting fixed today, so it'll be done. So obviously the water pump lives right here where there's a big gap. Those are water passages. So first thing is take off the engine cover, which is held in the center by a 10mm bolt. This is a 3.6 liter V6. I do want to say that because I'm sure somebody will ask. Obviously this isn't a Hemi. This is the 3.6 Pentastar V6 that they've put in everything that has wheels for the past 20 years. I think they're still making it, actually. But anyway, like I said, take off the engine cover, 10mm in the center, pop it off, and then take off the intake tube that goes from the intake to the throttle body. That's just 2 clamps. Those are both 8mm. Just loosen them, pop it off. There's a little rubber grommet in the back right there. Mine stayed on the engine itself. It's that one right there. It's not a problem. I can just pop it back off. Then the next thing is you can take off, which is what I assume to be a purge valve. I don't know exactly what this is. It is big and expensive looking, so I'm going to be very careful with it. It's some kind of a pump. So we're going to put that back down gently. But you undo that. It's 2 10mm bolts that are pretty long. It's these 2 right here. And good rule of thumb with stuff like this is if you can put stuff back where it goes, that helps you trying to figure out where the hell it goes later on down the road. So just keep that in mind. That's what I did, especially with the water pump, which I'll show in a second. But yeah, so like I said, 2 10mm right here. And then there's a 10mm right here, which holds this coolant hose or coolant pipe up that goes to the thermostat housing right here. And this is plastic, so please do not, if you can help it, pry against it to try to get the water pump out, because obviously with it over time it's going to be kind of stuck on the engine. So just be careful. Don't pry against it because it is plastic. If you're going to do the thermostat, which I am not, but if you are, it's obviously, like I said, right here, and it is plastic. You can do it now. Also, the plug for that, what I'm assuming is a purge valve, is right here. The female end stays on the vehicle, and the male end is over there, obviously, with it. The plug that's actually on the pump has the 2 little prongs that plug it in right here, so it stays out of the way. You also want to unplug, which is what I assume is either a mass airflow sensor or a MAP sensor. So just unplug that. You pull this little red lock down and you squeeze it and it pops off. And there you go. You're off to the races. Undo this hose right here for this pipe and just push it down out of the way. I was going to try to do this without having to take a lot of stuff apart, but because this stupid ass contraption on the intake hangs down so low, and because that also hangs down so low, you can't really see what you're doing. And you can see that there's these 3 bolts right here that you can't really see, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, you can pretty much see the layout of the lay of the land with all the bolt holes. There's one there, there. You get the point. But you'll see it on the water pump itself. So why am I replacing the water pump? Because it's leaking. It's been leaking for the past couple months, and you can see where it's been leaking from. The little, I'm assuming this is like a freeze plug, but not really. I really don't know. It could be leaking on the actual behind where this is, where the bearings are, but I don't know. But you can kind of see where it's been leaking and draining down. So it was time to go. But one thing you can do with especially like something like this, it's got a shitload of bolts that are all different sizes. You can take them out of the cover, out of the water pump as you're doing it, and put them in the new one. So that way you don't have to worry about losing anything. And same thing with putting the new water pump on. You put the bolts back in the old one and put them on as you're going. So that way, like I said, nothing gets lost, nothing gets forgotten, everything's kosher, and we're all good to roll. This is a MOPAR pump. I did not want to buy an AutoZone pump because 2 reasons. One, I wanted to try to keep it OEM, because if the OEM can make it almost 115,000 miles, then it'll make it another 115,000 miles. 2, I was going to buy an AutoZone pump because there's an AutoZone 5 minutes from my house, but I read a bunch of reviews for people that have put pumps on these vehicles with this engine, and I've seen 5 or 6 people saying, just put it on, only lasted a few weeks and started leaking. So, as I said, if the OEM will last this long, it'll get OEM again. The pump was, I think, $140-ish. I also bought a belt. The belt is the same size, it's the same everything. So there you go, it's a Gates belt. That's the part number for that. But I'll also link the stuff I'm using in the description if you're interested in doing this yourself, or if you want the same parts as I do. I bought it off Rock Auto. Took them maybe 1 or 2 days. No fuss. I got my magnet. That's the main thing I was wanting. I think it was a Firebird or a Trans Am. I can't remember. But yeah, same thing with the gasket. Gaskets are the same. Match up your parts. Put them next to each other. Check the gaskets. Make sure everything's the same. Because the last thing you want to do is try to put something on and try to make it fit, and it's not supposed to fit. Because then you'll be up shit's creek like without a paddle. And if you're like me that only has one vehicle, you don't want to do that. But I'll go over some bolts and stuff too. So all these smaller bolts that look almost the same are all 10 millimeter. They are different lengths. So like I said, that's another reason of doing this. Doing it like I did is putting them in the new one. So that way you know exactly where they go. And then this one is a 13. That's for the idler pulley. And then this is a 13 as well. This is a 13. And then this one is a 16. I don't know torque specs for all this stuff, but I can't imagine it's a whole lot, especially not these smaller ones. So I'll look that up, or see if I can look it up, and I'll put it in the description. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I'm missing anything. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. The belt is in pretty good shape. As I've said, well, actually I haven't said it, but it's not squealing, it's not cracked, it's not dried out. It's just a good thing about living in Georgia. Don't have no problems, don't have no fuss, no muss. Everybody's Gucci. So yeah, everything came apart with no problem, and it'll hopefully go back together with no problem, because like I said, I need my vehicle. So yeah, I'm saving a pretty decent amount of money doing this myself. This isn't complicated. This is pretty easy. If you've got basic hand tools like I've got at home, you can do this yourself. It's not hard. I'm just using a regular 3/8 Craftsman wrench, all Craftsman sockets, an extension, I've got some impact sockets here. These are Vevor, or Vever, however you want to say them. Little pry bar, and a razor blade, hammer, a Craftsman screwdriver with an 8mm socket on it, and then a DeWalt impact driver. You know, you don't need a whole lot. You don't need expensive tools to do stuff like this. So if I can do it at home, you can do it at home. You don't need to go spend $4 million on the Matco or the Snap-on truck to do simple shit like this. So anyway, like I said, I'll link everything in the description. I'll try to find torque specs. But other than that, I'm gonna get this put back together so I can get done. And yeah, hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all later.